Okay, so hi everyone. Sexual or violent contacts is strictly prohibited. All violators will be banned. Um, any questions, please contact your format that you are using. Um, Also, invite your friends and followers to all your networks to gain more followers and so forth and so forth. Well, recently I've been having these strange dreams of this um like stone staircase and like this it's open on one side and then there's a wall on one side and then these huge pillars like concrete or stone pillars. There's stone and you we so when I run down the stone staircase and it goes down like in a curve like this and then it hits the water the water is exactly right there. And then the water, I jump in the water and there's these people or there's another girl with me and we're just gonna say T. And um she's trying to convince me to go further into the deep of the water. So when we dive into the water, there's she points at this crab or something that's underneath this rock. And I go down and try to see it, but then the crab freaks out and goes back underneath the rock and it starts to glow. And everywhere around me is lighting up. And the dark water around me, that the deeper, darker water started to illuminate. And I looked into the dark and this girl was trying to get me or tempting me to keep going to the dark. And my instincts and everything inside of me, and there was like this voice, a guy's voice saying, listen to your instincts, listen to your instincts. So I ended up getting scared and freaking out, and I ended up jumping out of it. And um there was this big wall. Hi. There was this big wall like in this way. And I look at the wall and I tried to swim to the wall. And this
And this is Life Uninterrupted.
Then it started to
Invisalign.
like blur out and flash out.
A young woman Florida takes the
And my
day off
favorite
from
song
work
right now,
for a self-care day and ends up losing her job. As a result, her self-care video went viral, reaching over 1 million views in 1 month. This brings us to a conversation.
Samantha's an English name, so
and adopting a new lifestyle,
yeah.
taking care of mental health and focusing on self-care and self-love.
So I hope you guys like my favorite song that I like right now. And apparently this song came out November 13th, 2020.
Ain't a person that can take my place. Happy just to be alone all day. Antisocial, gotta isolate. Turning my phone off, changing my number, I'm changing my name. I gotta burn up, use it for niggas who try to run game. That's how I'm living, never gonna migrate. Cause I ain't got no time, I ain't got no time, so much better when I'm by myself. So much better when I need your help. So much better when I'm all alone. So much better when I think about you. You've been trying to fall in love with me, but you must know I ain't the one to be caught up. It's true. You're the one, don't need the one. I found one, I am the one. This is self-love. I don't need no other love. So quit. I'm gonna cut and live. Quit. I you're not gonna make it now. Honest and natural, don't wanna talk right now. So much better when I'm by myself. So much better when I need your help. So much better when I'm all alone. So much better when I'm worried about you. So much better when I'm by myself. So much better when I need your help. So much better when I'm all alone. So much better when I'm thinking about you. And I ain't worried about you. Yeah.
So, on that note, I'm going to give a shout out to Savannah Christina. That is her song that I was karaoke with behind. It was published on November 13th, 2020. You can find the original music video on YouTube under Savannah Christina Self-Love. So she did self-love, but I was and still is her hugest fan of this song right here. Anybody remember me talking about a boat?
Overcome emotional eating and stress eating. I started using them, and so far.
So my clue to everybody is this song right here. I talked about sitting on a beach, and then there was this ship that went by, and I felt they intentionally did that to ruin my video, but it was just all coincidences of all reason, and it had to be there. There's a massive universal reason why that ship needed to be in this music video. In her music video at that time she created, is because her music video was an energy link with the ship that has an energy link to something that was massive, that all was associated and associations with each other. So I hope you guys also, I want to go down memory lane with you guys, because that dream, I know for a fact, the staircase, the water, all that is an old dream too. So I hope you guys don't mind going through, what I mean is I hope you guys enjoy this recap of 2019, because all my harassments actually started in October 14th, 2019. But that was the warning, and that was the heads up of what was going to happen on November 25th. All the signs of it starting was on November 17th, November 18th. But my first harassment of my first fight that was in my face was November 5th. So all the days that I'm getting harassed to this year is the exact same days of last year. And there's a key to the similar dates. So this is a clue to everybody that is an insider to what really happening in this world and who really running this shit. So this is a clue to all of you guys that we're going down memory lane. And the reason why I'm talking about my dreams is because this probably the dreams that we are in the phase of.
I got work in the morning. I got bills, I got family ties. Your colors are pleasing me. I try not to reason with. That's why I made it clear. Wonder why you're even here. Don't you know? 'cause a nigga ain't gon' pay all these bills. They about to let me know I just don't got the time 'cause y'all niggas ain't. Y'all niggas ain't shit. Y'all niggas ain't shit. No. So I gotta put myself in the front. No, I don't wanna die. I gotta be fine by myself, alone with myself, and I'm taking my time. I'm doing it right. Self-care, 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 self-love. Self-love, self-care, selfish is what we're now. Selfish.
And the reason why I want to end on that is because I am being selfish to a lot of people out there. But I'm just asking for the same things that they ask for. When somebody's under some kind of harassment and they're enduring it, they have the right to compensate for what they're enduring. And I've been working for this person, and I worked for this person before, and I had complications with him. So I was nervous about having this association or to be associated with this person and working for him, is because this is the second time I'm going through harassment by this person and not receiving any of the compensate that was promised to me. And I did not receive any of the compensation promised, in verbal and oral contract and the written contract. I got nothing. I got no compensate of the compensation, and that's what making everything seem so hurtful. Because everybody out there, I'm going to ask you a question. The job that you're at right now, would you let your boss tell you that your paycheck that's supposed to come in 2 weeks not going to come? How would you feel that you worked those 2 weeks and then the day you're supposed to get paid, you didn't get paid? How would you feel that you worked your hours and didn't get the compensate that was promised to you, and never receiving the compensation, never receiving it? And they're trying to put you in jail and everything like that. And I'm out there asking everybody, think about the job you at right now, and look at your boss, look at your supervisor, look at the owner of the company, okay? And ask yourself, would you allow that supervisor, that manager, that owner of that agency that you working for not pay you for the labor of time you sacrifice and you had to endure? And they're And this person that's supposed to pay you is trying to convince everybody you work for free. Nothing in this world is free. And the details of the contract specifically says he will pay me money. So we have proof that money compensation was agreed. And I never received any of my compensation for any of my maintenance work, my being a maid of cleaning work, for my labor, for cleaning, my labor. Also, too, I was harassed on May 21st, and I've been trying to get out of this house ever since then, and in a accessible home for my disability, because I constantly getting harassed about people saying I'm mentally ill, I'm mentally disabled, and this and that, blah blah blah, and that's discrimination against my disability. And that's why I've been demanding and requesting to be placed in an accessible home for my disability, and so this harassment can stop, and I can prove that these harassments is targeted at my mental disability, is because all the complaints, everything points at she mentally ill. And I don't feel that I'm being respected, that I have a mental illness, but I'm not running around not taking care of it. I have proved many, many times that this temperament of anger comes from the consistent continuation of all harassment, abuse, assaults, threats, because I'm under ongoing, continuous, consistent harassment, meaning in other words, so I can down it for everybody to understand. It's the same complaints, same claims, repeating consistently, ongoing, of these harassments, assaults, that because they're ongoing, I am claiming they're intentional. And and you cannot say they're not, because it was your intentions to call the cops. It was your intentions to make the call. It was your intentions. Nobody held a gun to your head or threatened you to make those calls, to make those harassments, to do what you did to me on November 5th as well. So, and that's, like I said, that's breach of contract as well. Because I have court orders as breach of court orders, and they've been breaching court orders like crazy. And I'm still on this ongoing harassment by the court of law. By the court of law. I'm being harassed by the court of law of the state of Hawaii. And I am afraid. And that's the reason why I'm afraid. Now, do you guys understand why I'm afraid? I am not being harassed by an individual. I am being harassed by the law, by the court of law of the state of Hawaii. I'm being physically harassed by attacks, by actions of by acts of actions attacked. And I've been asking for attorney. I am a low income person and family, and I requested to get one attorney pointed to me, and the judge was biased and told me no without even looking at my financial stabilization. Because if she looked at the evidence of my financial, it will say zero financial. And anybody with zero financial in any court can be pointed an attorney. And because she said that in court, that's physical acts of actions of bias on judge. And her judge's name is Nakata. So that's the reason why I'm here on my live, because I made on live talking about the corruption of one judge named Nakata of Hawaii, state of Hawaii. She is a judge, one prosecutor through the state of Hawaii judicial branch, one judge. And she was biased on stand. She even said that these evidence against me is confidential. I said, evidence can be confidential. And she said it's confidential. Anything filed in this case is confidential. And I said, that's why I questioned her. For that confidentiality question, concern, any evidence used against you in the court of law, I have the right to know about it, have the evidence, to examine the evidence in a proper time, right? This is what Judge Nakata said. I fear to say yes. Because if she said yes in the court of law, her prior statement before my question is proof of acts of actions of Judge Nakata's bias, discrimination against me. That's why I said, oh, you fear to say yes? You fear to say yes, I understand. It's because you're talking to me. Because I was waiting for her to say unstable yes. And then that's when I was going to tell her I'm emerging a lot more than to this case. Because by court orders, further hearing of this case was by ordered. You denying to further proceeding of this hearing is breach of court orders. So Judge Nakata was attempting to breach one court order she worked for. Judge Nakata. So all of you out there that remember my fucking irritation about this corrupted judge of the state of Hawaii. Now you see why she corrupted. Go look up my cases. Go look up my cases. Go look at the reports. Go look what she says. She biased. Her bias harassment was intentional because she's in court, sitting on the judge chair, telling me, I warning you. You warning me about what? Your breach of the Bill of Rights of our Constitution? Is that what you warning me about? That you breaching because you trying to keep evidence against me confidential? You corrupted Judge Nakata of the state of Hawaii. Corrupted. And I can prove this corruption by all her answers from all the videos of 2019 case. Because all the things that she stated in the video is false information. And for her to be unjudged, sitting on the judge's chair, giving false information, and the best of her knowledge she knows is false because she's unjudged and she works as a judge. That means she's intentionally giving the wrong information under oath by the court of law of the state of Hawaii. She is sitting on stand as one judge, making false accusations about policies and laws and rules that she is supposedly have to have knowledge of to even qualify to have the license. She has the license is proof that she has knowledge of what I'm talking about. And because she has the license, and that proves that she went to school, that proves she got her degree. She proves that she got her master's. So that means she has knowledge of what she's doing. And because of that license, her intentions of corruption and crimes against me, Samantha Iopa, was intentions of orchestrating actions of corruption, harassment, bias, assaults, threats by the court of law of the state of Hawaii against Samantha Iopa. She didn't do it once. She did it twice. She did it 3 times, 4 times in the first court in 2019. She was the judge for the same prosecution. And she's the same judge that went signed for the same prosecution. This judge prosecuted me for the same claims and the same accusations of some kind of crimes that was accusation against me. Same claims. Exactly, word by word. That's the reason why I made the October 1st to bring that all up. That this is when consistent and the same harassment. The judge wanted me to prove that they intentionally make the same harassments on purpose, intentionally. When you file for anything in court, it's intentional. You intentionally filed. So I can claim intentional intentions of orchestrating harassment, bias, threats, assaults, attacks, abuse, discrimination, violations to various laws, abuse from all categories and all types, prejudice of all categories and all type, legal discrepancies, illegal discrepancies, crimes, and discrimination, and time taken away from me against me, Samantha Iopa, by physical evidence of these acts. And like I told him, we just finalized this case January of this year, and he gonna try file again the same claims. He gonna try prosecute me on a prosecution on the same claims, on the same shit, doing the same thing. Come on. And I was looking at the judge like, there gotta be a rule against being prosecuted and being under prosecution for the exact same thing twice. Gotta have some proof. And this is less than 1 year I was prosecuted for the same thing. Less than 1 year. Less. Because it was done in 2020. 2020 not pow yet. So I got prosecuted on a prosecution twice for the same claims, less than 1 year. Less than 1 year. And I was trying to explain that to her, and she never liked. So she didn't take them to evidentiary hearing because she was too scared for take any of my evidence that I had in court. Because she was going, oh, that's confidential. That's confidential. That's confidential. How can any of this be confidential? Because the case I brought up is not even to deal with this case right here. I'm telling you, I have court orders that I can further hearing about this case. I have court orders. So you as a judge deny me this, you breaching my court orders. And I claimed that in court. I said breach of paragraph what? Stupid Nakata. But and that's the reason why in this house, that's why I feel unsafe. I get stalkers that come here consistently harassing me on proven false accusations. These accusations already was proven in court that they are false. Proven to be false by the court of law. And I'm still under the harassment of something that was already proven of the court of law, that these allegations are proven false accusations. And that's a crime against anybody by the court of law. And I had actions done to me by the court of law. I was put on restriction away from my kids for nothing. I had to go to YMCA to visit my kids for nothing. So that order proved that I was innocent the whole time. The order that I would get, that I would win, proves, because they couldn't provide physical evidence of the allegations, but I could prove by physical evidence that the allegations was false. That's why it's proven false accusations, because I never just go in there and say, oh, they're lying. I claimed it the first day, but the last day I came with physical evidence physical evidence on piece of paper proving that these people are lying. And Judge Nakata refused, was constantly refusing to accept my claims that I had physical evidence of this harassment, that she refused to take any of my physical evidence. That's why she ran it to a physical evidential hearing. I cannot fight, I cannot yell about that, but I am hurt. Because if she took my physical evidence that day of all my claims, she would have seen right there that my claims is legit. I have the physical evidence. It could have been, that person could have been convicted that day. It should have had, I was demanding compensation. And when I said I requested and demanding compensation, is because I wanted her to convict him of the claims of the crimes against me. I wanted the judge to convict the abuser of the crimes against Samantha Iopa by the court of law. But she refused, and she refused. That she went all the way down to she has the right to want to put this as an evidentiary hearing, because she was hiding behind that this is just a hearing. I'm just supposed to listen to your claims and his claims about this case, and that's it. And she started to hide behind the title of, this is just a regular hearing, ma'am. So I don't understand what you're asking of me. That I said, okay, because you don't know, because you cannot understand your own law language. What can I do? But I already knew already. Because if the judge does not take the option of making this case and fast forwarding it to an evidential hearing case, I have to respect the laws and wait for an evidentiary hearing to prove my claims with evidence. And because I was claiming breach and I proved that he was breaching it, breach says that I'm claiming that I want the abuser to respect and obey the court orders and do what the court orders say. That the judge said, Judge Nakata said that the abuser and his representative have to make arrangements with me then to get the court orders back into play. Right now, that abuser is refusing to even work with his own representative. He's refusing to work with his own representative. He's refusing to work with me. And I said, because I proved that he is refusing to, and he's breaching 2 court orders now. The first court order, he was supposed to follow the court order. That's his first breach. His second breach was his refusal of making arrangements with me and with his representative. And because he's consistently refusing, I have to wait to evidentiary hearing. I asked for legal advice, and they said the best legal advice they can give me is just wait for your evidentiary hearing. Just keep just go to the police station, make police reports with the police station saying that today's date and court orders say that the girls are supposed to be with you on these days, and just have one police officer sign saying that you're making this complaint of harassment and making a police report, and take the police report number. So if you go to court, You can just give the judge the police report number. It will pop up on their screen, and it will let them know every day he actually breached the contract, other than just your own journals, because how sticky and how dirty and how messy this case is coming, that I can prove that judges are corrupted, the system is corrupted, they're harassing me with their corruption. Their corruption is acts of actions, of abuse, of harassment against me, Samantha Iopa. Their corruption. I'm claiming their corruptions. Okay? So now you understand why a lot of lawyers are falling out. Is because I have too much physical evidence that I am being prosecuted on prosecution on same claims on the same prosecution. So and I said it's a violation because these are breach. And because of because he breached these court orders, I claim intentional. He cannot say he did not know that these court orders was court orders. Is because how I got the court orders was through his representative at the time. So if his representative received it, it was his representative's responsibility to give him the information about the court orders. And I believe that representative, that attorney did his job. That's why I'm not attacking him. I'm not bringing up his name. Is because me and that attorney had a full debate on October 1st. He had his fair share of debating with me in court. So I know that he made contact with his clients that he was representing at the time. I believe that he did. Okay, that's why I'm claiming intentional. I believe that this attorney did his job correctly. I believe that this attorney did his policies in the process correctly. That's why I am holding it down sturdy that the breach of the court orders was intentional. Because I believe his attorney at the time did his job correctly. Hey! I believe that attorney did his job correctly, that this court orders was explained to him in one educated way, that he cannot say he doesn't understand the court orders. I believe that his other attorney, his other lawyer or what did his job. I believe that other attorney went through the correct process, through the correct policies to explain this court orders to the abusers correctly. I believe that. And I'm going to hold that down in court. I'm going to hold it down in court that I believe that this attorney did his job well. And I believe he did explain this court orders to the plaintiff correctly. So the breach is intentional. I believe this attorney did his job right. And if he did not do his job right, and if the abusers is claiming that he got no information from his attorney. He's on court orders that his attorney was supposed to explain these court orders to him. And if I get any physical evidence that he did not do his job right, that is corruption by the court of law. So if that abuser, if his client keeps pointing the finger at him, it looks like his client putting him under the bus. His client shoving him under the bus. So I'm really hoping, and his client is driving over him and reversing over him and all. And if that's the case, I'm going to summon that lawyer. And I'm going to question that lawyer in court and say, did you correctly, through policy and procedure, execute the explanation of this court orders to your client? And we'll take it from there on whatever answer he gives me. Because if he's going to go with the flow with this client that's running him over, well, then I guess he kind of blamed me why he getting hurt. So that's my saying to everyone. This case is not private. This case is pretty open. Because this case is already already got the filed, so you can look it up on public records. The only part that you cannot see is probably the newer case part, but the case I'm talking about, the continuation, the further hearing of this case is the 2019 case. It's already public. It's already on public record. So me speaking about it is not violating anything, because I'm speaking about a prior case, not an ongoing case. I'm talking about one prior case that has already been filed and ordered. So they kind of say that I'm making public videos about an ongoing case because I never say the case's name, because if you look at it, I can point at one prior case that already had orders, was already done, and it's public records already. And the reason why I can point it down is because it's the exact same claims of prosecution. Exact same claims of prosecution. Exact. Less than 1 year. Yeah. And that's the harassment that I am under right now. I am not only being harassed by individual people, human beings. I'm being harassed by agencies from high standards, by the court of law. I'm being harassed by the court of law. Now I'm going to ask all of you out there, you will still fight the way I am if the whole court of law is against you? Would you do what I'm doing right now? Now you know why I'm scared. Because you know you see the corruption that they're going through with Donald Trump. Trying for win this election through corrupted judges. I would never trust those judges. I have good probable cause why I'll never trust those judges. I am under an ongoing, continuous, consistent harassment by the court of law. The law is my harassment. The law. And because it was who forced me to go YMCA, and I proved I was an innocent person, was by the court of law that forced me to endure that suffering. It was the court of law that made me endure all of that. And to endure something like that, that's why I went demand compensation. I endured all of that. And I proved over time and time through that whole case, I'm an innocent, good mother. I am an innocent, good mother. And attacking an innocent, good mother the way you are is harassment, on assaults, attacks, threats, bias, because I got reports and reports that I can prove that, see, that's bias. The kids claiming that I'm a good mom and they like continue their visitations, but then the personal comments from these legal people is contradicting what my daughters really say. And they're supposedly under contract of acknowledgement saying that they only can report what the children actually said. So if I got two different reports of proof that my children saying I'm a good mom and they want to continue seeing their mom on equal visitations, then they got abandoned. They was abandoned and neglected for a whole year. 1 whole year with me. I got paperwork on paperwork. My kids always been present on every meeting, was present at every appointment, even house visits. It was always present. When I was in the hospital for somebody's false accusations of me being suicidal, my daughter stayed in my house by themselves. What does that prove to you? They are always being abandoned. They're always being neglected. They are never neglected by their mother, only by force. And I can prove it was by force because I had paperwork from the hospital saying that they refused to let me out. So I have proof I did not ever neglect my kids in this house by themselves. I never did. I was forced. So that proves that I never, ever neglected my children or abandoned my children on choice. Every time when my children was away from me or being neglected by me was because I was under some other force keeping me away from my kids. Meaning I was under gun, I was under knife threat, my life was on threat. That's why I could not get to my children. I claim the Crazy House Asylum hospital I was in as a life threat against me to get to my kids is because they said, if I walk out that door to get back to my kids, they're going to put me in jail for running away from the asylum. A runaway from an asylum. I had to prove in the 30 hours I was there that I am not suicidal. They brought me my case showing me that I once shot myself in the same house. And I told them I was on the gun. I was on the knife. I was under threats, harassment, abuse. So what I gave to you at that time wasn't by free will. So I'm going to let you know now. The person that shot me that day is still walking around right now. I'm not suicidal. I was trying to hold it down so hard that I said, you know what? Why you not go research a little bit more of my medical records? I've been in here more than one time for the same exact injury. And there was like same exact injury. Same exact injury. The reason why I'm pointing at the injury is because you guys still think that I shot myself. What does the report say that I am consistently surrounded by men? And I told them, why does the report say that I was consistently surrounded by men? It's because even the nurse was saying in her own secret way, there's a lot of men around her, so I don't think she's allowed to tell the truth. Because do you know how much men was around me that had guns and was going to use any excuse to shoot me? Any excuse. They would use the excuse of me telling them they're stupid to shoot me. They would use the excuse that, oh, that girl, she didn't call me dumb, that's why I shoot her. You see? They would use the excuse that a verbal word hurt them so much that they had to do a physical action of harm to shoot one little girl. And I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And these men was in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, saying and using any kind of excuse to shoot a 12-year-old girl. Excuses. Running excuses on the wide so they can shoot one 12-year-old girl. When 32-year-old man trying to find excuses to shoot a 12-year-old girl. And he was trying to hold it down that his probable cause of shooting one 12-year-old girl was because this 12-year-old girl called him stupid. One 12-year-old girl called a 32-year-old guy stupid, and the 32-year-old guy thought it was a bright idea and was probable cause to put physical abuse against a 12-year-old child and shot the 12-year-old minor. Shot and abused a 12-year-old minor. And CPS did nothing to protect me. Nothing. 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 With all the records and all the injuries and the abuse with the gunshots, just for a child to be suicidal like that, they're supposed to be in CPS. CPS looked at me, looked at my case, and handed me right back over to my abusers, took the bribe. For real. I saw it right outside my door. The CPS worker took the money, a bribe, drove out the driveway, And I was in the hands of men that was going to use excuses like, oh, she never washed the dishes, that's why I shoot her. Oh, because she never fold the clothes, I shoot her. Oh, because she never fixed the house, I shoot her. Yep. And that's the kind of life I had to grow up with. Being surrounded by men trying to find any excuse of probable cause to shoot me. And to shoot me to death. Because when they shot me, they left me on the ground and they was drinking and partying and letting 10 pints of blood drain out of me so they can claim that I went die doing some suicidal shit on my own, and they never find me until hours later. But I'm lying on the ground thinking inside my head, I'm surrounded by these men that has the option to save my life by just calling the cops, get the police. But you know why they're not going? It was them themselves that shot me. So they're just waiting for me to bleed out and die. And by their actions of just sitting there on the table, sitting at the corner on their chair, drinking their beer, talking story, that was all intentional. They was intentionally sitting there waiting for me to bleed out and die. And I still getting harassments to this day, trying to put me in on a crazy house asylum hospital for this mental illness that I even receive from the consistent, nonstop, ongoing, continuous abuse. Never stopped. It never stopped. And now I'm a human being by myself fighting the law. And this is the same thing I bet you a lot of people always fight about. Fair discrimination, how the corruption of the courts cover up their mess by cover up, by cover up, by cover up. I know there's so much people out there because I have read so much reports and I read so much cases that why did these people never continue on? But then I read more into it and thought about it. They were afraid. They were scared because these are lawyers on lawyers on lawyers, covering up this lawyer, covering up that lawyer, covering up all their discrepancies, all their harassments. They're just covering them up. And I'm going through it right now because I had one judge try to convince me that the evidence against me is confidential. Trying to convince me that the evidence that's being used in the court of law is confidential against me. Like she was trying to convince me. Like I never know my Bill of Rights. Because I know the Bill of Rights from 5 to 9 talk about something about the evidence. And this Judge Nakata was pushing that the evidence used against me is confidential. So in court, I have her recorded breaching the Bill of Rights, the Constitution of the United States of America. And she's a lawyer of the state of Hawaii, of the United States of America. So why is she breaching her own oath? As a judge, you make an oath to uphold the law. And she breached it by saying the evidence used against me is confidential. No evidence that is used against you is confidential. No evidence used against you is confidential. And this judge was holding it down that this evidence against me is confidential. So tell me if Judge Nakata of the state of Hawaii deserves her job. And for compensation for enduring Judge Nakata's corruption of intentional actions, the compensation by law, she's supposed to go to jail, lose her job, and never work in any state or federal position ever. And that's my probable cause why she making acts of actions of cover up and cover up. That's my claim. Her actions of covering up her mistakes is acts of actions of corruption. And that corruption is acts of actions of intentional acts of actions of orchestrating of all types and categories of abuse, discrimination, harassment, assault, prejudice, discrimination against me, Samantha Iopa. So how is the state of Hawaii judicial branch allowing Judge Nakata to continue working in the law or any state federal position by her physical evidence of her corruption? How are they still allowing Judge Nakata, a Judge Nakata of state of Hawaii, to continue practicing law on her corruption, intentional acts of action of corruption against me, Samantha Iopa? How is this court still doing this? So that's my stress I'm having right now, because this judge is doing everything she can to delay this conviction. I am demanding to have him convicted of his crimes, and she's pushing it to next court hearing to not convict him on the physical evidence that he has done in court. And I'm not using journals. The evidence that I'm using is actually all state sealed evidence. That's the reason why I don't understand how Judge Nakata can be this corrupted and still be working in any law position of state and federal. I don't know how she's allowed. She, by rights of my compensation, like I demand this compensation, that Judge Nakata be fired and by court orders never to be hired or have any opportunity or job opportunities in the state positions, any state position or any federal position, because her crimes against me is her lack of doing her job correctly. So I think I'm being reasonable on claiming the claims about her job, because I do not believe she is qualified for that position. And please forgive me my words, but this is my clue to all of you on my face. I mean, I did it on Facebook Live and Facebook as well, but here on live.me and YouTube Live, this is my clue to you. And this is the hint that I know what I'm talking about. Get the fuck off my chair. You know, remember that? Any of you remember me quoting, get the fuck off my chair, as you don't know how to do your fucking job? So if anybody can remember me saying that, specifically last year, 2019, then that means you're an insider and you've been through a lot of my meetings with celebrities, leaders, and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to throw out that hint again. Okay, it's not an insult to anybody. Now this is just Blue Clues hints to all my insiders. Get the fuck off my chair, cause you don't know how to fucking do your position. Cause I can fucking do them better. Now all of you that remember this, now remember the reality of this world. And remember the reality of who actually pulling the strings. So I demand compensation of my blackout folders. They know who they are. Remember why we blacked out. So if Donald Trump don't fucking shut up, our files will come out. And the reason why we have a happy life is because we was allowed to black out our files. And if we are not allowed to black out our files anymore, we are back to slaves. And guess what? Say goodbye to your family. Go say goodbye to your kids. And I see you on the training field. So if you love your family and you love your kids and you love this new life that I gave you, practice your training. I demand compensation from your black files. Remember your training. And remove that motherfucker that's putting our lives in danger. Remove him immediately, or yours and my black files are going to be public. Remove him now. And I'm talking about Donald Trump, because that means they'll have the right to bring up all the selective presidents, you fucking dummy. And Donald Trump no remember how he was selected. So he better shut his face, because he's part of that corruption. Because if we all go down, yeah, us blackouts, we taking him with us. You understand? We never work our asses off for get on blackout folder to have normal lives for one fucking dummy. So you blackouts better remember what we went sacrifice. So You like your family, protect them. Because remember, what is the rule? When we return back to work as their slaves, all your loved ones, you forgetting the oath that we all put under. You and I am under all of that. So you better fucking listen. And you better be standing as strong as me. Or you better go kiss your kids. And you better go kiss your loved ones. Goodbye. Because they're not going to be living. They're going to be sleeping. And you know why. We made an oath never to love, never to have family, never have anything. And you look like you breaking your oath by loving. You love now, boy. So listen up and listen well. You're forgetting the files. And we're going to call them X-Files blackouts. So all of you that's in the same shoes as me, you want to say goodbye to your kids, what they doing to me? What they doing to me is the first steps of taking you away. Having the law go against you. So you're forced to make some kind of agreement with them. You forgetting, huh? All you blackout folders. You forgetting how we got there. You forgetting we made an oath never to have loved ones because they are our weakness. So guess who you think they're gonna go after? Our weakness. Wake up. You forgetting your place. You ain't live in your illusional life too long. Wake up. Remember the truth. You and I. And look like if you are not, any of you blackout folders are not going through the same harassments as me, that means you're not on the list of them taking you yet. And they taking me soon. Mostly if I don't win this, I will not be anywhere near any of you. And I pity the soul that see me in person. Or any of us blackouts in person. Because we are there for a job. And what our job description of training tell us to do. We are the boogeyman. We are your nightmares. Why you think all the boogeymans and the demons you could not find them for years? Is because we all us blackouts was pretending to live a normal life. And because our blackouts was pretending to live a normal life, gave us weakness. They did that intentionally to give us weakness. Believe me, my whole crew, we didn't have no weaknesses. That was the fucking law. To be in my group, to be in my club. No love, no weaknesses. And they had none. That's why a lot of them had to go to the crazy asylum and live in asylum houses. Because none had weaknesses. None. But now they do. Because they have children. They have wives. They have loved ones. Now they know, or they should understand, what I was protecting them from. It hurts, yeah. Always gotta look back. Is this the last day you're gonna see your child? Is this the last day you're gonna hold your loved one? Because we are being forced to go back to work. So all you blackout, X-File blackouts, that's our slang. I see you on the training field, because I'll be there first. Because look like they're retrieving us. And it's already started. So however you making this journey and however you running from them, I bless you. Because we all knew this day was going to come. We all knew they was going to come back for us. Why do you think we all getting our memories back? Not only me. There's a couple of you out there that got you guys' memories back too. And you too now must be feeling the same way I am. Afraid for your loved ones. And what made you think that living a normal life was possible for us? What made you think it was possible? That was just an illusion they gave us. Because look who's being hunted now. We are. By the laws and by the records of our oath, we are supposed to make all warnings public and known. Because of the rule that we have to make it publicly and known, this is the public and known announcement of notification to all of you. That's the reason why they're going to hold it down, that you cannot hold that law or rule against you, against them. And you know for a fact, I am their speaker. You guys know for a fact, I'm their announcer. So, whenever you get there, in a year or so or sooner, I see you on a training field. Because I'm thinking I'll still be Agent 1. Or I'm still Agent 0. And I don't give a fuck that I gave out my agent name. And I will always be Agent 0. Just 0. I just have 1 digit. I am not a lot of those other agents that have a lot of more digits. No. My crew only is single digits. We didn't ever reach double either. The reason why is because when we wanted to promote somebody into our group to make it bigger, somebody died. So it always, and every mission we went to was on death mission anyway. That's why it was called a blackout files. Is because we doing them so say on free will, and we're just doing them as on rogue, but we're not. We was sent there. But if we get caught, we have to go to the torture and say that we went rogue. We on our own. We did this all on our own. Because there's no paper trails of any orders saying that they wanted us to do that. We are the single digits agents. Is because we are the first. I am Agent 0. Meaning that I am agent that does not exist. That's what Agent 0 means. Agent that doesn't exist. Then they start from Agent 1. The reason why they start with the number 1 of Agent 1 is because they don't want no one to know that Agent Zero exists. And I'm telling this out after an hour is because anything after an hour of my broadcasts, they will delete. So I'm allowed to speak after an hour because they will keep an hour of the video going, but anything after an hour, they will glitch it, they will delete it, or you'll see my mouth move, but no voice. Okay? So to all of you out there, that is the announcement of the warning that by the rules that you have to know ahead of time. This is a public broadcast and a public announcement. So it's legally, they can use this announcement as their announcement. And they are. So, and I know you guys are here on my live, and I know you guys check on me. So that's my warning to you. And I'm not talking about the new recruits and the new souls. I'm talking about us old timers. I'm talking about the OGs. I'm talking to the originals. Because you know, we androids. I know you alive. Don't act like you did. So anyways, love you guys.